Alright.
What's going on, New Gaming Order? We back like the juggernaut, bitch. Today is a special show. We have a guest who has checked us out on a number of occasions, so we're gonna get around to him giving his introduction and how he found out about the show, so on and so forth. But this is New Gaming Order coming at you with the topic that Nelson had decided to discuss. What
Yeah.
game genres require more skill to play? So that's laying down the foundation. But going around the table, starting with our guest, thank you for joining us. Tell our audience your name, how you found out about us, and a big shout out to answering the call for inviting folks on. Well, you got the floor. Go ahead.
Appreciate it. I'd like to first thank y'all for having me on. I go by K Semi. That's my PSN name. K Semi, KSEMMI. Also, Mo Swishes on the Xbox Live. MOSWISHHZ. And found out on you guys about the Gamers R2 Facebook group. And I've always wanted to be a part of podcasts. Always, been a gamer, but just never had any type of friends that sat and talked around about gaming and stuff like that. So this is a first for me, and again, man, thank y'all for having me a part.
Hey, thank you for checking out our product. So we get kind of crazy here, so you'll get used to the humor. Especially
cool.
if we have you back on for other guest spots and whatnot. And you're more than welcome to join us tomorrow for our weekly program. So again, thank you very much for showing support. Chris, opening remarks.
Watch out if you're playing GTA 5. They are allegedly banning people who are using trainers and mods in single player.
Really?
So
It's single player.
It's single player. That's what people are upset about. It's not quite getting near the uproar that the Skyrim debacle got on, at least on Reddit, but they are up to some shenanigans. They're claiming they're not banning mods, but people were allegedly banned for even using an FOV mod. Getting a better, wider field of view, because they cap it at 75, which most people want to play at 90 plus.
Wow, single player though. Come on, that's gay.
Yeah, so
That's
we might be able to do that tomorrow, but that's just a heads up to the people.
Yeah, we'll delve into that. Matter of fact, stick that on the New Gaming Order Facebook so I can read up on it while we're at work.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, and Nelson, opening remarks before we get this thing rolling.
What's up, guys? Of course, you already know it's May 6th. Yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. If you guys haven't known already, Jason Voorhees came out in MKX. So if you haven't gotten them, please do. And hopefully you'll like today's special podcast.
All right. So, New Gaming Order. We're going to try and fit at least one of these bi-weekly because, there's certain topics that just deserve, a guest and its own spot. So we're not cramming it into, 5 or 6 topics on our weekly show. But, like I was laying down the foundation before, what game genres require more skills to play? Now, Nelson and I were discussing this, I guess, on Xbox Live and whatnot, and it's kind of hard to say what one genre requires more skills to play, because I think that there's simple games that still require some sort of strategy to play them. Whether, for instance, you can't really compare a Street Fighter game to a Call of Duty game or to a freaking Final Fantasy game. They all have their own flavor, their own style. So, for instance, you're sitting there taking your turn base, you got your mage, you got your tank, and you got your person pulling attacks, and you have to slowly calculate and analyze your strategy, how you're going to strike and get through a particular battle, like in a turn-based game, where Call of Duty's run and gun on the fly, bam, 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 bam. And Street Fighter or fighting games seem to fall in the middle, because you can kind of control the space, and it's just like a quicker version of chess, if you ask me. But I can't really say one genre of gaming requires more than the other. I think that what it is, they're different. And especially if you have a preference to one genre, somebody might say, hey, fighting games require so much more skill than playing Call of Duty, and I would disagree with that. They all have their own positions as to where the player can, strategize and set their stuff up. So, I'm gonna give the floor to Nelson because he wanted to bring it up, and I'm sure there was a reason why he wanted this featurette to go down. So, Nelson, go ahead.
Okay, now I'm gonna quickly discuss how this became about, and it started out on the Xbox Live Party. I was talking to a couple of my friends, and there's a person in the lobby. His YouTube channel is Andre2K. If you guys would like, you could go check him out. He's basically known for 2K videos and so forth on YouTube. We had a little debate saying that what game takes more skill, and he feels that sports games take the more required skill because of the whole micromanaging and also including in the player that you have to move around at the same time. And I argue that statement with fighters because fighters it's all on you, and you have to move on the fly, you have to think on the fly, go in. There's a lot to it, and there's more buttons being pressed than to a basketball game. In a basketball game, you hold the speed button, you wait a little while, you make your little move, and then you shoot. And
the pacing is different.
Yeah, the pace. Yeah, the pace is different. But again, this is the reason why I wanted to bring this topic up to flourishing, is because a lot of people have disagreements and agreements of what I said, or due to another genre. Like, people might say shooters are the more superior when it comes to skill level. Some people might say RTS is when it comes to StarCraft and all that other stuff. I would like to see what everyone thinks, especially if people on YouTube, you can leave your comments, or any other thing. You can make video messages on YouTube. I know you guys can do that, and send it to us, and we'd like to see what you guys think of this. But in my opinion, I will start out by saying that fighters take the most skill out of all the genres, because as I said before, there's fighting games where you have to literally press all 8 buttons in mid-combat and go about taking out your opponent in the quickest way possible, compared to playing a shooter where it's basically probability chance of you hitting them. It's not guaranteed you'll get the kill. Like, you can't call out, oh, I'm shoot him with an AK-47 from 3 miles out and I'm gonna bop him.
But you have had people in Halo call shots, like sniping shots that got them.
But again, that's still probability. Compared to a fighting game, it's guaranteed when you're getting a combo and you land the combo. If you're not like a horrible player, and if you're like on an intermediate to advanced level, you will not drop that combo once it starts. AKA Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Once the shit starts, you're dead.
I hate that game.
So that's just my opinion, and of course, the way how I want to do this theme today is I don't want people just to take turns. I want you to jump in at any given time, but just respect, the person finishing their topic at hand.
So you want an argument?
Not an argument. Just like how we had on the last special. You say your piece, let the person fully finish, then you can pop in at any random time. Just don't clash.
Okay.
So.
Well, you know what? For our guest Khalif, Mr. Simmons, what are your thoughts on genres of games, and what do you,
hold on,
in your mind?
Hold on, I think someone is trying to come in. Hold on.
Come into our call?
Yeah, hold on. I think we might have another person. Playboy.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? All right, Playboy is now officially here. All right, so I'm gonna make him added to the own call. So go ahead, keep talking, Alex. He'll jump in.
All right. So, Khalif, what are your thoughts in terms of what game genres require more skill? Like, based off of what Nelson and I had just said, I mean, what do you have to add to the debate?
Well, I gotta agree with the last statement, man. I mean, when we talk about fighting games, it's one-on-one. It's mano y mano. And that's when your skill has to shine. When you're dealing with sports games, when you're dealing with Call of Duties, I mean, you're more than likely you're dealing with some type of team. There's some type of team element to it, and you kind of got somebody to pick up the slack if you are, maybe if you're not so skilled. So you can still pick up wins, and you can, but it's more forgiving, I'd say, with Call of Duties, especially, Maddens, 2Ks, your sports games, all that type of stuff. It's just more forgiving. When you're dealing with, a fighter, online at that, you know, there's no mercy. You know what I'm saying? So it's no way that, you know, I would say any other. I wouldn't say that there's any other, more skill based, genre than fighter. So I mean, that's as far as I go with that one. You know, I totally agree.
Okay. You know, I thought about something and I said, you know what? Competitive gameplay, that's where I think Nelson was actually trying to hit on. And Khalif, you made a good point where, you know, when it's mano a mano, yeah, skill does become the ruling factor in your success. So with that being said, now that makes me kind of rescind some of my comments in terms of like RPGs and such, because RPGs is a solo experience.
Right.
So it's now as far as RTSs and whatnot, that's a whole nother thing. Like me and Chris used to play games like 99 Nights and all this other stuff where you can actually, you know, do things where you have, you know, hey, you gotta set the team over here and archers and, you know, sappers over there and so on and so forth, but yet you control the character. You got to know what you're doing in order to succeed, even if it's against a computer, you know. But yeah, this is an interesting debate. So Chris, what are your thoughts on on the topic at hand?
Well, for the most part, yeah, oh wow, that game's loud. Give me 1 second.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, I tried to play a game in the background. It was just too damn loud.
Unbelievable.
I know, right? But yeah, when it comes down to it, anything solo won't take nearly as much skill, mostly because you're playing at your own pace. Anything that's competitive is going to be more challenging. When it comes to PvP and online games, especially MMO PvP, there's going to be a lower skill level only because it's gear dependent in a lot of cases. You can be an absolute shit player but have the best gear and still demolish people. Anything that has a level playing field like first-person shooters and fighting games and even RTSs like StarCraft that are probably competitively are going to have a higher skill level. I'm going to exclude things like MOBAs, Dota 2, and League of Legends. I don't really get what the big fascination with those games are. I think they're mostly kind of boring, to be honest, but those games are massive in certain circles. But I'm going to stick to first-person shooters and/or fighters. In terms of what it's actually, you need more skill to play. I can't really, say for sure what's going to be better. But it's going to lean towards one of those two being what's going to be more difficult to play, or to need more skill in order to be competitive in those games.
Okay, good point. Now, NYC Playboy, welcome. It's an honor to have you on. Our #1 supporter. I mean, we got to get this man a damn plaque. I'm going to hook it up. There's a plaque place here in Jersey. I'm going to find it and I'll put NYC Playboy on there. So, welcome. Finally, glad to have you. So, you know the topic that we're talking about today, right?
Yes, I do.
All right.
So, gentlemen, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, I am a PC gamer exclusively. So my two choices would be first-person shooters and MMO RPGs. For the fact of the matter, and also I include RTSs in that as well. MMO RTSs, like your MOBAs, and now your card games as well, because those games require you to think in terms of a strategy, and plus those games are more those are multiplayer games where you have to herd cats, and that's difficult.
It's strategizing, a lot of moving pieces as opposed to a one-on-one thing where, how can I say, in the RTS games, if a mistake happens, like you have a chance to cover down, you can send resources on a fire team that's getting attacked, where on a fighting game or Call of Duty, the errors are instant in the results of failure. So it's like, bam, you mess up. Oh, I shouldn't have jumped there. Bam, you get shot. Or
respawn.
It's respawn, or you drop a dragon punch or miss a combo, then you're left open for an ultra punish. I mean, I think the pacing is different, like I've been saying prior to you coming to the call, NYC Playboy. But I mean, that's an interesting thing, because I know On Your Knees was mentioning some similar games to what you were saying. But continue, expand on how you know, the RTSs can be a little more strategic or require more skill than fighters.
And MMOs, because you have especially when you're fighting like, you know, your elite raids and all, and et cetera, et cetera. Even with Destiny, not so much with Destiny, but with traditional MMORPGs, where if you know you have your holy trinity, your healer, your tank, and your DPS, you know, they got to work in perfect unison.
Yes.
And if you lose your DPS, you lose your damage, it's gonna wipe. You lose your tank, wipe. You lose your healer, wipe. So it's just, you know, and these fights are strategy fights. Like, I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember EverQuest when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
Those raids lasted for days, not hours. I mean, the shortest raid was like 12 hours, and people were up.
Playboy, let me stop you real quick. Those raids that took that long, did people have shifts? And how to, you know, I mean, because if that's the case, a raid that would go on for that long, people got to go to work, take care of their kids, and all this other stuff, right? So they're doing these sort of raids. Is it like a massive coordinated effort? Like, you know, like Warcraft and that funeral that got raided and people caused a mayhem that on your
that was like 10 years ago, man. You're still harping on that?
It was funny, bro. That was terrible.
That was Runestone. That was Runestone. That was called the Black Friday.
Oh, that happened in Warcraft too. Someone put a video to it. They said it to Scatman. I think someone on the line side died and the Horde raided it. It was hilarious.
Well, I got a question on this. When we talk about skill, well, I got actually a statement. When I think about skill, you know, I'm thinking of, you know, not only, you know, with your mind, but I'm thinking, you know, skill with, you know, being able to kind of press the buttons fast. And that's why I say, you know, fighters are the more, you know, skilled type of games, because, you know, not only do you have to think on your feet, you know, you got to be able to actually coordinate the button combos, and you gotta be really fast, you know, with your mind and your hands. So you pardon my ignorance on the, you know, on like the you know, real-time strategy games and the MOBAs, because I don't play those type of games at all. Is that, do you have to be fast-fingered to play those type of games? Is there any type of element of, okay, I got to hit this button at this certain time, or do a combo of buttons? Because that's what fighters are, you know, to hit these combos, you got to hit, you know, 13, 14 button, you know, combos while thinking, you know, blocking and stuff on the fly. So that's, you know, why it's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, for RTSs, for RTSs, there's a massive Twitch reaction thing that goes into it. Average pro players do like 3 inputs a second. It's crazy. They're crazy fast with what they do. If you watch them, like, they're actually maskless at keyboards. They're all over the place, issuing like multiple commands at a time. It gets crazy. Okay. So I would put RTSs up there. The MMOs, not so much. For the most part, if you know what you're doing, it is a cakewalk. Essentially, you just don't have to be brain dead. And unfortunately, I played with brain dead people for many years, which certainly leads to a bad time.
It does. Okay. It does. And you know, it's like, you know, it you know, depends on what you're defining as skill. You're talking about your twitch reflexes, you know, because as you get older, your reflexes are, you know,
they diminish.
Good.
Yeah, definitely.
Or, you know,
Alex, the expert on that, we should ask him.
Shut up. All right, go ahead.
And yeah, so you got, you know, it depends. You know, all of this is relative, because I watch because I watch EJ Wong, and I watch all the MOG fighters. You know, they're playing Mortal Kombat now, and I'm just in their Twitch channel, just, you know, just watching them, and just, you know, it's amazing how these guys, like, the thing now is Jason. He just came out, and these guys already have him and just doing massive combos with him. These are like your Perfect Legends, your Justin Wongs, all those type of guys. I'm thinking about that. How in the hell this guy just came out? And you already know, like, his what 40% combo already, and just
I think he's banned.
Guys.
I think Jason was banned.
You know, that's skill. If you could just jump into it. Go ahead.
No, but what I was gonna say on that, some of these people, as you already know, are testers. They got the game 2-3 weeks beforehand, and sometimes they give keynotes from the devs, so they can start a structure of what combos to start out with, and then grow on from there, or within any game for that matter, when you become a tester. But some of the testers, such as Long Island Joe, Chef, the hell's his name? Perfect Legend, Arturo Sanchez, and a couple other people, they were still having a hard time figuring out the combos, but yet you had someone that wasn't a tester, Justin Wong, who's right now he has a track sheet on his Twitch page of all the combos that you can do that does over 50%. And that's just because of his raw talent of knowing his genre.
Well, you see, I think that, like I said, the skill that's required for each game type is different. You know what I mean? In fighting games, it's instant. Shooters, it's instant. So most folks will sit and say, hey, that requires more skill because you got to do it on the fly. And it's like, oh my god, it's intense, and like get in there, and then you have to have the confidence, the dedication, and practice, like Slinky Jim is saying in the chat, like, you know, for the execution portion of it. Yeah, that's a lot of skill, a lot of time, talent, and dedication. You know, as far as like the MMOs and the RTSs, it's more a planning base. Like what was said earlier, you know, if your healer goes down, or your tank goes down, or your long distance person goes down, you know what I mean, you have to not go in there in haste and rush things and get screwed up. I remember, Chris, there was a game I think you and I played online, and you wiped the floor at me because you took out something that was very vital to the success of my campaign. You know what I mean? And I forget what game that was.
I'm not sure. I think you're a bit delusional, Alex. You might want to join the AARP. That might be more along your speed.
And he hashtagged it. And he freaking hashtagged it. But yeah, I think that you know, for me, like, I like all types of games. Even though you may not see it on the channel that much, but I know that different games require different sets of focus. Some require the strategy, some require the execution skill. So it's just different across the board, you know. Like me, my personal opinion, I won't say one is better than the other, or is one requires more than the other in terms of, hey, it's just pick your poison. You go, like, for, you know, analogy I'll use, my military missions, if I'm going out somewhere and they give me, hey, you're gonna go and post security, I know what equipment to bring. You know what I mean? So it just, you know, it's the same thing with gaming. You know what game you're playing, you know what you have to adapt to, or what mental mode you have to be in. Some of the games are slower paced, others are faster paced. It's just, you know, like, okay, with Call of Duty or the run and gun games, the one thing that I do notice, you got people who can exploit stuff, and that's not skill. That's like, oh, they're just finding an exploit. They're sitting in a corner somewhere, and or remember, like in Halo 2, where you can fly up to one part of the map and just sit there and just snipe people out. Like, come on, you know, that's not really, you know.
And I'm starting to think that Call of Duty is like the worst example to use as far as shooters, because we all know that Call of Duty is probably one of the most accessible shooters ever. You know, anybody can pick up and play. I mean, and it makes you feel, and it's one of those games where, you know, it doesn't beat you to the ground like a fighter can. You know, when you were in Call of Duty, even if you're playing free for all, if you're if you get a couple kills, you know, there's good, you know, air guitars going off, and you know, you get flash and point, and it makes you feel like you're doing good. You know, you may not be really doing good, but you know, it uplifts you. Even when you're doing bad, it uplifts you. When it comes to a fighter, I don't know of any fighter at all that kind of, you know, congratulates you for getting your ass kicked. You know what I mean? When you're in the fighter, you're getting your ass kicked, you're out of there. You know? Yeah.
And
it's win or lose. Is like one of those games where I you know, the Call of Duty reference here, I think that's the wrong shooter to use.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, like Halo is a little bit slower pace, but you know, when you think about it, it's like, man.
But as of shooters, if you want to put like the top of the line shooter that everyone gets on, that's like really competitive, is Counter-Strike. That's the only...
I mean, Counter-Strike, Halos, you know, those are definitely some of the you know, the more skill-based shooters, definitely.
Yeah, but like Counter-Strike is up there when it comes to shooters, in my opinion. As of fighters, you really can't pick a game because it has its own competitive scene within the genre. The
Right.
RTSs, it can go anywhere from Age of Empires to StarCraft, whatever you want it to be. And then you have people who say sports games are the more challenging, such as basketball games, football games, soccer, whatever it may be. Even fight night boxing, people think that's more technical than like a Street Fighter kind of thing. But
you know what? I will somewhat agree with that, because the UFC and Fight Night kind of, have the same set. Where you got to know what you're doing. You got to set your stuff up. You know what I mean?
I would have to kind of disagree with that.
Yeah, I gotta disagree as well.
I don't know. Wait.
Well, here's the thing with UFC's in Fight Night. You can. Well, especially with UFC, you can get knocked out in the first 10 seconds, and that's not
but
really.
But Guilty Gear used to do stuff like that back in the day. With the single hit destroys in the first Guilty Gear. Then they had to change it to do it like it knocks you off one round. But it depends on the mechanics. But that is like a sense of realism. Like, okay, one punch can take you out.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's what, because it's one of those, like UFC and Fight Night, it's one of those games where, I mean, there's no, the reason why I can't put it on the same plane as a traditional fighter is the combos aren't nearly as, complex. There's combos, of course, in Fight Night and UFC, but, not anywhere to the extent of like Street Fighter cross Tekken or MKX or, any of these, esport type of, fighters out there,
Mm-hmm. But you know what? Let's take Gears of War for instance. Most of our older audience knows that before I merged with Nelson from Fighting Game League to create this product, I did tournaments with KOTC Nation that was, kind of like an underling to GameStop out of corporate Texas. And what I saw at these events where Gears of War was a calculated, coordinated effort with, like, these teams, if they knew what they're doing, they're not losing. You know what I mean? Their execution was like fighting game level, where they would send somebody out to lay suppressive fire, and the other two guys would go out and flank, and it worked every single time. And what we call that in the military is battle drill 101. You know what I mean? Like, it's just unreal. And little kids going out there like ripping grown adults, like, it's just unreal how they set that up. So in terms of shooters, you got some that can be, like practice, execution, time, and dedication can still be at that fighting game level that we're all somewhat leaning towards in terms of requiring more skill to play. Does anyone agree or disagree with that?
I definitely agree. I mean, you can, but when you really think about it, you can take pretty much any game to that next level. You can take Candy Crush to that elite
Candy
level.
Crush? What the heck? Unbelievable.
I had friends for like level 676 in Candy Crush. I'm like, how in the hell can you get that high?
You see what I'm talking about?
That's
exactly what I mean. You can take any type of game to that elite level. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But when we go back to the root question of like the skill, that's kind of where it gets kind of murky, because just like you said, there's different strokes for different folks. Different people will play different types of games. Some of it is fast paced, some of it is more of a slower pace, some is more of a thinking game versus more of a button masher or quick reflexes. So I mean, it just depends on what we are defining as skill. You know what I mean?
Amen. You see, you pretty much backed up what I was saying. It's kind of hard to say this it requires more, because it's just different types of skill level. Like, for instance, somebody can play Tetris and get it down to that point where you're like, how the hell? Or Puzzle Fighter. There was a guy I was playing in Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, right? I had him beat. I had my gem set up. I was gonna drop the bombs, and I was gonna hit him with my level 3. Somehow he set his stuff up. I didn't even see how he had his gem set, and it countered everything. Everything I did. Bam, bam, bam. He hit me back. Bam, bam, bam. Hit me back.
I think Captain Colorblind's a little butthurt.
Oh my god.
But you know what? Here's another thing. You got games like Metal Gear Rising and Bayonetta, Devil May Cry. You got people doing like these speedrun videos doing all
Yeah.
kinds of crazy stuff.
Bloodborne, Dark Souls
Souls,
stuff.
Yeah, and you see them doing these crazy things like no hit deaths, no deaths, no hits, double Xing and all this other stuff. That's
Yeah.
another form of skill.
I watched the Dark Souls video where the guy was one-shotting bosses.
Yeah,
Damn.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
Damn.
he was purposely setting it up so that he would just one-shot everything. It was crazy.
How do we, that's a whole but that's not an exploit, is it?
No, he
No.
was just stacking a whole bunch of buffs. Like, he got himself low health, you spell that up to damage, special gear, and then boom, one shot.
Wow.
Yeah, it just takes the right amount of mixture within like the Souls game or Bloodborne to create that effect, or you could just make them fall off the edge of the map. And
Yeah,
Or
that-
if you think
that-
about like Rock Band and Guitar Hero, seeing guys do these, crazy songs with, no
Or
air.
the dancing games. The dancing games. I
DDR.
DDR.
Yeah.
those
No,
types
wait.
of
The
games.
thing with DDR, that's a different. That's hand-eye coordination practice, and that's
That's another
something else,
form
man.
of skill. Another,
Yeah.
different
Skill.
forms of skill. Like I said with Guitar Hero, and just think about all the different games that we just talked about, all totally different from each other, but requires some form of skill, one over another. You know what I mean?
Indeed. You see, I think if we really look at it, yes, fighting games will require that execution, perfection. Especially at Evo level or Pro level, but it doesn't mean it requires so much more than other genres because, Khalif was saying, in each game it'll determine okay, this is the max that I have to do to display a high level skill. You know what I mean? It's just for fighting games, it requires more effort, more practice. I think that's what sets it apart in terms of skills.
yeah,
Yeah.
but also it takes practice within any game that you
Yeah,
play, such as
exactly.
the speed run, such as the RTS games that Playboy mentioned. Like my friend Paul, I don't really know his gamer handle, but we'll call him Paul for short. He plays StarCraft, and literally he can beat someone in StarCraft in less than 5 minutes because of how fast he types and how much clicks and precision on the mouse that he executes to get the exact amount of money or farming needed to be done before his opponent can even react to one. It's all depending on what game it is and depending on what definition of skill you want to
Exactly.
to put it on. That's the reason why I want to have this topic, because there's just more than one thing that you can just say skill. Because when I say the word skill, people's like, oh, Street Fighter, Dead or Alive, FIFA, 2K, Gears of War, Call of Duty. There's a whole bunch of things where people think is skill. It could just be all thinking games, hand reaction, hand-eye coordination, listening, memory. We don't know.
But you know what? Khalif made a good point. He's just what do we see as requiring? What is the skill?
What is skill? What
Mhm.
are we defining as skill? From what I understand, everybody's pretty much on the same page that there's different forms of skill. So I mean, it's like it doesn't look like we're gonna get much of anywhere because everybody already understands. It's different forms of skill for different games. At the end of the day.
Yes.
But if you had to pick one genre that you can say is predominantly the most time-consuming thing that will take the most skill to learn, what would you pick and why?
I would go fighter. Like I said, just for the reasons I stated earlier. It's more of a. You got to react. You got to be able to react. You got to think on your feet. You got to be quick-fingered. And it kind of, to me, it combines all most of the forms of skills. You know what I mean? More than others. But this, like I said, that's just on my opinion with fighters.
Okay, Playboy, what do you think of the same question?
I will go with MMOs and RPGs, because with those games you have to sink in so much time, effort. You got to learn fight strategies. You got to learn, okay, you're class X, and you're going against mob Y. What are your strengths and weaknesses? You have to exploit that to your advantage, because for instance, when I play my MMOs and RPGs, I always play a healer class. The most gimpiest class you could think of. A healer. A healer can't tank. It can't do much damage to you. I'm always constantly, circle strafing. Trying to find, the aggro ranges of mobs. And when I go to boss fights, especially when I'm in rage, I have to focus, multitask. I gotta keep the tank alive. I gotta keep DPS alive. I gotta keep myself alive.
And not only that, the healers are always prime target number one. They always go after you guys. You could kill that mother effer. He's gonna revive this guy. Get him.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And plus, you got to have certain gear, etc., etc. So yeah, that's just me because I play mostly MMOs, RPGs. So versus fighting games.
Okay. That's a good answer. So on your knees, same question. What do you think would be that?
Based on the way you prefaced the question, I'm gonna go with fighters.
Okay.
The reason being, the basis for, at least for first-person shooters, they're all the same. You move in 4 directions. You aim with your mouse. You might throw in occasional mechanics like you got super jumping, sprinting, shields, third-party inanimate weapons fighting for you. But the basics are all the same. When it comes to fighters, there's different mechanics in each game. I do feel it complicates things, and you do have to remember the movesets for each different character you play as. And you're getting games upwards of, I don't think the latest games don't have that many, but some of the older games, 40, 50 characters you got to memorize their shit for. It gets kind of crazy at that.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the roster was ridiculous. You gotta learn what works against certain people, so on and so forth.
You might want to turn off your video, Alex. That's not gonna come up ever. But okay, that's a good. Now, of course, the co-CEO, Alex. What do you think?
No comment.
No comment. So you're not gonna say nothing.
No, he's gonna pull M. Night Shyamalan and say something other than fighting games.
Oh shit.
I am going to say what requires more skill is amiibos.
Oh, come on, dude. For real? Come on. This amiibo shit.
Alright, no. If I had to pick...
Yeah, just one. Only
because
one.
Nelson is forcing me to pick.
You have to.
You know what? I was going to make a joke, but I will leave that.
No, just...
You can make your joke. That's what we're here for.
No. It's something offline. But I say, damn, it's hard to say because, like I have been saying throughout this podcast special, they all require something different.
Yeah,
or
different. We're talking about out of your preference.
TikTok. We gotta get the Jeopardy music for when I'm.
You got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2.
I think I'm gonna have to. Is it true, false, or multiple choice?
Answer the fucking question, dude. What the hell?
Yeah, I'm holding this podcast up. I'm holding our guest hostage.
God.
All right. You know what? Honestly, as much as I don't want to pick one, I'll have to go with fighters. And the reason I say that because of Killer Instinct. It's when I first started playing it, I was getting blown up real bad, and it took me a lot of frustrating time and a lot of Nelson getting on my case and whatnot to the point where I was like, man, I gotta really stop and look. And being that it's so quick, you gotta learn frame data and all that, and I think fighting games require a lot more dedication to get good at them as opposed to other games. Learning curves is what makes it, I guess this particular featurette's pick. So I have to go with fighters.
Okay.
Or any sort of combat. Like I would even include UFC and Fight Night, even though we had a little, thing with that earlier. Is this anything that requires a competitive combat will require more skill.
Okay. Well, I would say naturally my answer would be fighters, but for the sake of this question, I'm gonna go with RTS. For the sake of this question.
Unbelievable.
Reason being is because, as what Playboy was mentioning, it takes a phenomenal of thinking ahead of your opponent to be able to execute your plan very well and smoothly as possible.
But you could do that with Street Fighter.
Not quite.
Yes,
Not
you can.
quite.
Yes,
Not
you
quite.
can.
I'm gonna explain why. I'm gonna
Nelson,
explain why.
You've done it when you.
Explain why.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
The reason being is because when you try to think of ahead, like, oh, my base strategy. Let's say if you're Chun-Li and I'm Akuma, my base strategy is to knock you on the ground and keep mixing you up until you die. Correct? Now, the thing in fighters, you have these options available to you that you can basically disregard of what I'm trying to think of ahead. And that's what, option select. You have many different options to avoid my bullshit. And plus, you have many key factors. You have lag. You have, like, bullshit, like, input within the controller. It could be TV issues. It could be many different reasons. And despite the fact that if I might be able to attempt to think ahead of you and flawless victory or perfect my opponent, there's too many factors involved for me to be able to do that, unlike an RTS game where it's heavily more required based, because every second counts for farming. If you fuck up on 3 seconds that you lost and the opponent has gotten those 3 seconds over you, you lost instantly. There's no reason to continue on with the match. There's just none, because the game's like, I've seen people type so fast. They have like a key,
macros,
they have a key number count on the side to tell you how many keys that they would hit at the end of the match. I've seen one dude hit almost 12,000 keys by the end of the fucking match, non-stop. Did not stop.
Does he have a girlfriend?
I don't know his life. I do know he lives in Korea.
Man. You know what?
That's all I know.
I'll just play.
All I know is he lives in Korea. And he typed in 12,000 keys by the end of the match. And that is ridiculous stress on your fingers. Much more stress than the fighting game. Because on the fighting game, there's little brief pauses. Yeah.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, there's brief pauses in fighting games. But I would lean towards more of fighters because that's, what I grew up with. But if we're putting down... Let me change the music because the music about to phase out. There we go. But if I was to go for the sake of the question, RTS all the way.
Ew. Betrayer.
Not a betrayer, it's just that's what I think, in my opinion, takes the more required effort within the play. Even though, again, this is an opinionated thing. I'm not stating facts or...
No, I got you.
But
you know no wrong answers here. No wrong answers. Exactly. All good stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? One thing that really made me start playing RTSs, from time to time was Halo Wars. I really enjoyed that game. People weren't too happy with it because it had the name Halo, but it wasn't a first-person shooter. But man, me and Anomaly, my original partner on this product, it was like, I don't know, something about RTSs is so gratifying when you do win against the computer, or you win that particular campaign, because it requires so much planning. So much goes into it. It's not like an easy give me win, so I can see that. But I have nothing else to add, so Nelson, if you want to conclude.
I'm trying to get Playboy back on so we can do this properly instead of
we lost
disconnecting.
Him? Yeah, he said on the chat that the Wi-Fi is not good where he's at.
It's alright. I mean, we'll wait, but everyone else will still get their say in the matter. The way how I like to turn off the end of this topic is basically on YouTube. What do you guys think of that question? What genre do you prefer takes the most skill to play? And explain your reason, whether if it's in a video format or within a comment within the section of the YouTube video for its sake. Okay, he's back on. But now I would like to go from left to right from my screen. So on your knees, do you have anything to finalize with this question or anything else to bring up that's related to this topic?
I got nothing else.
Okay, Alex.
Funny, Alex.
Make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. I want to thank our two guests, NYC Playboy, our #1 supporter, and to Khalif. Thank you guys very much. It warms my heart to finally get guest viewers on the program. You know what I mean? We weren't bullshitting around. Thank you guys very much. That's all I got.
Okay, Khalif?
Yeah, man. Again, I appreciate y'all for having me, man. Really big shout out to y'all, man. Again, K-Simi is the PSN name. Most Switches is the Xbox Live. Y'all add me whenever y'all need, man.
Okay, and
chances are we'll probably have these two back on again.
okay, and Playboy, any closing statements or anything to close out this topic?
No, you guys covered everything that was relevant. So, like before, I believe the consensus is, skill is relative to whatever it is you consider skill. So,
Okay, and Alex, you can end it as always.
All right, people. Thank you for a successful featurette. Again, we're gonna try and do these a little more often, bringing our guests on. So with that, make sure you check us out tomorrow night at 8 p.m. I know it sucks that some folks are watching SmackDown and Scandal and all that. Maybe that might change down the line, but make sure you check us out. Shout out to Full Screen, our partner, for really hooking us up with more than 300 extra subscribers. Donations will really help. It'll push our quality. And with that, we out like the Juggernaut, bitch. We'll see you tomorrow on our weekly podcast. Peace.
all right.
We're gonna stop the low.